just give me one moment. Everyone just stay where you are. And 3, 2, 1. Hey up everyone, it's me, Stef The Alter Nerd, your nerdy alternative, and yes, I am taking over for Popcorn Planet this week whilst Andy Signore is away on holiday because, yeah, when the cat's away, the mice is going to try and play. Let's put it that way. Hopefully he's got a channel to come back to after I'm done with it. With that being said though, today's topic, oh my goodness, Jussie Smollett is going to try anything and everything and say anything and everything to get out as soon as possible from jail. And I mean anything and everything. Like, dude is going, in my opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, nuts with a capital N. What do I mean by all of that? Well, you be the judge. So, this is from the Daily Mail. And yeah, he'll try anything. Jussie Smollett is apparently immuno-compromised, complains about the risk of the Bud Light situation in jail, and says the psych ward is harming his mental health, as his lawyers ask for him to be freed again 5 days into his 75-day sentence. So it ain't even been a freaking week, and the dude is like, I want out. I want out. These are the reasons why. And oh my goodness, dude is just going for it. So, not only is he now complaining that he is at risk of Bud Light in jail, but he's also worried about his mental health. So apparently, because that he's at risk of the Bud Light situation, and he feels he's concerned about his mental health because he's in isolation. Yeah, warden, just give him the keys, let him go on his merry old way, right? Let's forget that he ever was found guilty of faking a crime, right? What? So, he's being held in the medical unit of the Cook County Jail. Now, his family say that he's being held there and that there's a note on the door of his cell saying that he's at risk of basically doing a little bit of madness to himself, which they insist isn't true. But let me just rewind things a little bit for you guys, because at the end of the day, right, we all know the outburst that he did, right at the end of the sentencing hearing. That something was going to happen to him, and if it did, it wasn't him. You know, alluding that people were out to get him, you know, all that, right? So, wouldn't you think, and I'm just hypothesizing here, right, that the warden, the prison place, would be like, do you know what? We're going to make sure you're definitely as safe as ours is, and the best place to put you in where you're definitely safe as ours is, where you get 24/7 monitoring, is the psych ward. I mean, dude said it himself that someone was out to get him in that outburst. Do you know what I mean? And if someone had done him in, it wasn't him that did it. Do you know what I mean? He didn't do it to himself. Someone else did him in. Alluding to the fact that he'd be hefted. Let's put it that way, guys. So it makes all the sense in the world, to me, my opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, that based on that outburst, that it would be in a psych ward for the technicality that there would probably be the best place that he would get 24/7 freaking monitoring to make sure he's safe and that no one gets to him. Right? Am I going completely cuckoo here? Like Smollett cuckoo? Let me know. So, they say it speaks to Smollett's courtroom outburst, where he insisted he wasn't going to do himself in, and claimed that if anything happened to him in jail, it was basically someone else that did it. Now, of course, the family are continuing to be like, we want him released. We want him released. They've submitted an emergency motion in the appellate court on Monday, claiming he should never have been convicted. Which confuses the deuce out of me, because wasn't he found guilty by a group of his peers, by a jury in a court, like found guilty of like 5 out of 6 counts that he was charged with? So if he's found guilty, then there's going to be a punishment, right? So end of the day, shouldn't have been convicted. Well, he should have had evidence to prove that he didn't do what he was charged with in the first place. He didn't have the evidence, therefore, reason beyond doubt, he did it. He did the crime. Should never have been convicted. What? That's nonsense to me. That's absolute nonsense. Now, this goes on. Here's the affidavit here of basically them trying to get him out. This was a letter that was submitted by Smollett's legal team from a doctor on Monday, claiming, this was yesterday, that Smollett is at a heightened risk of getting the Bud Light because he has a compromised immunity, but they didn't say why his immunity was compromised. Well, tough. If they don't say why his immunity is compromised, why should they actually consider it in the first place? And if his immunity is compromised, then keep him in isolation in jail. Wouldn't there be like protocols now in place to protect those that are more vulnerable to the Bud Light, so that they still stay behind bars and they still do the time if there is Bud Light like knocking around? So, even if the judge does not overturn the conviction, they think he does not deserve jail. He's being convicted. The judge quite clearly demonstrated in his final judgment, in his words, why he's going to jail. You think he's going to be like, you know what, I was wrong, you're not going to be in jail anymore, walk free. What? So we know that he was sentenced for 150 days behind bars. Because he's granted day-for-day eligibility, apparently he could get out in half the time, which is just over 2 months. So as we know, after sentencing him on Thursday, they asked the judge to suspend the sentence, and then they asked him seconds later to apply a stay to avoid him from having to spend 1 night behind bars. And Judge Lynn is like, nah, rejecting both those requests, and guess what? This happens right here, right now. You get your backside behind those jail bars. You're guilty. Bye-bye. Laters. We're done. Right? So in Monday's filing, so yesterday, to the appellate court, the family also included a letter from a doctor which says that the risk of the Bud Light situation is an added reason that Smollett shouldn't be in jail in the first place. So if memory serves me right, they use the example of Bud Light to try and delay court proceedings. If I remember right, I may be wrong, but that's what I kind of remember in my head. And now they're spinning it to say there's Bud Light, therefore he is at risk because of his compromised immunosystem, whatever it is, therefore he needs to be out now. What? This is insane. It is my opinion that the incarceration of Mr. Smollett in jail or in prison poses a substantially increased risk to his health. The Bud Light is an ongoing situation. As of March 2022, the Bud Light situation has caused more than 445 million cases and approximately 6 million to lose their lives worldwide. Incarceration in a jail or prison setting poses a heightened danger to his health when taking his current health status, including compromised immunity, into account. But again, they don't expand more on that. They don't explain more on that compromised immunity thing that they're just throwing out there. The doctor did not say, here you go, doctor did not say what makes him immunocompromised, and representatives for Smollett did not respond to inquiries about it. but they're being vocal about everything else. Right? Am I right? Am I wrong? Am I right? They're being vocal about everything else. Why not this? Since then, Smollett's family say that they have received not very nice messages about him. So we're going to be getting onto that in a moment, guys. But before we do so, as you're currently watching halfway through, if you haven't done so already, you like this and you want to see more, make sure you subscribe to Popcorn Planet. Ring that bell, hit that like button, and comment down below what you think so far in terms of this video. And if you want to go one step further, consider joining, becoming a Planeteer today, or maybe go to next level if you want to. You get exclusive videos, you're able to see the full length streams, and much, much more from Andy Signore himself. Getting back to this article though, so one of the not very nice things that's going on. Well, apparently there's one voicemail that's been released to the media on Monday. The caller used not very nice slurs, calling Smollett the no word and an F word. They said they hoped someone takes care of him in jail. Not like in a nice cuddly bear kind of way, like, you know, a not very nice way. Yeah, not very nice. Right now, here is the video. I'm not going to play it. You guys will be able to see that. But the Taraji P Henson, who was his co-star on Empire, has spoken out, and they're trying to get this hashtag Free Jussie going. I've not seen it that much. I don't think it's taken off the way that they'd want it to. And in her post, she says, I'm not here to debate yet on his innocence, but we can agree that the punishment apparently does not fit the crime according to her. She mentions about Emmett Till and what happened there. And he was ultimately, his life ended because of a lie. None of the people involved with the ending of his life spent one day in jail, even after Carolyn Bryan admitted that her claims were false against Emmett Till. No one was hurt or lost their lives during Jussie's ordeal, but he has already lost everything. She says, to me as an artist, not able to create that in itself is punishment enough. He can't get a job, no one in Hollywood will hire him, and again, as an artist who loves to create, that is prison. My prayer is that he is freed and put on house arrest and probation, because in this case, that would seem fair. Please, hashtag free Jussie. He's lost his career, so that's jail enough for him. What? What? No. You do the crime, you are then punished by a court of law. What's happened is he's being caught out doing a fake crime, and as a consequence of that, in terms of his personal life, his career is down the toilet, but legally, he has committed a crime, so he should suffer legal consequences. To me, you can't just turn around and say, well, he's lost his career, so that's punishment enough. No, he's lost his career as a clear direct consequence of him freaking faking a crime. But losing his career is not a legal consequence, right? If he commits an illegal act, as he did here, then he should suffer, on the other side, the legal consequences. And again, I repeat, losing your career is not a legal consequence. It's not a legal punishment. So trying to conflate the two, I'm sorry, no. My opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, that's BS. Absolutely BS. And I have to preface all this by saying the following, right? I don't care what colour skin you are, black, white, pink, orange, blue, unicorn coloured, rainbow coloured, whatever, right? Everyone's human, everyone should be treated as equal, right? And if it was someone else, different race, did exactly the same thing as Jussie and was doing exactly the same thing now, trying to pull all these tricks to try and get out of jail early, I would be saying the same thing right now. Okay? So I just wanted to get that out there. With that being said, though, guys, what do you all think after watching that and hearing me rant pretty much all the way through? Let me know in the comments down below. And with that being said, that's the end of this video. Everyone that's watching live, stay on. We're going to continue. But to everyone else, laters.